Welcome to George Washington Birthplace National Monument. My name is Scott Hill. I'm the Chief of Interpretation here at the park. George Washington was born to Augustine and Mary Washington in February of 1732. Mary, his mother, treated this birth differently than many other colonial-era mothers did, for she noted the birth in the family Bible. It read, George, son of Augustine and Mary, his wife, was born at 10 o'clock in the morning on the 11th day of February, 1731-2, and baptized the 3rd of April following. Mr. Beverly Whiting and Captain Christopher Brooks, godfathers, and Mrs. Mildred Gregory, godmother. Now, George Washington was Augustine and Mary's first child, but Augustine had had children with his first wife. So George would have 3 half-brothers, one who died in infancy, and a half-sister. Birthdays were not as important in the colonial era as they are today. George Washington's half-brothers, Lawrence and Augustine Jr., only list their years of birth, not the day and the month. In fact, many people had only their years of birth listed rather than the day and the month as we would today. Also, in 1752, Great Britain and her American colonies finally switched to the Gregorian calendar, which the rest of the world had been using up to that point, rather than the Julian calendar that Great Britain and her American colonies had used. People went to bed on September 2nd, 1752, and woke up not on September 3rd, but rather on September 14th. The dates of September 3rd through 13th were removed from the calendar. Thus, George Washington's birthday changed from February 11th. In fact, he celebrated the first 20 birthdays of his life on that day to February 22nd. The last 47 birthdays of George Washington's life would be celebrated on that day, and that is the day that we still celebrate George Washington's birthday in the 21st century. We have no evidence of there being any special markings of George Washington's birth here at Pope's Creek Plantation. George only spent the first 3 birthdays of his life here before moving up to the property known then as Little Hunting Creek, today known as Mount Vernon. George Washington spent most of the first 43 birthdays of his life in Virginia. Special markings of Washington's birth before, during, and after the Revolutionary War at places such as Gadsby's Tavern in Alexandria, Virginia, would also establish a precedent that has lasted until this day. Although Washington can rightly be called one of the first Americans, it was to Virginia that George Washington returned. After his presidency, George would spend his final 2 birthdays at his beloved Mount Vernon before dying in December 1799. He would be buried at Mount Vernon, and Virginians would long remember him. There have been attempts over the years by the federal government and other groups to link Washington's birthday with that of Abraham Lincoln, another birthday in February. There is a holiday known as President's Day, but in Virginia, we call it Washington's birthday. It is, was, and always shall be Washington's birthday here in Virginia. So, from Virginia, and particularly here at George Washington Birthplace, we say to you, Happy Washington's birthday.